But the story that I'm going to tell you today is called Don't Forget the Sabbath. And it's a story about three men in particular. It's about a whole group of Seventh-day Adventists in an African country called Togo. And Togo is in Africa, but I don't believe we have it on our map this quarter. It's in a different part. We'll have to look for it, yeah. But in this part of the world, in this particular country, in their town Toboni, they have a lot of Toboni. That's the name of their town. And in the town, in their little city, their village, a lot of the people work as cotton farmers. They grow cotton in fields, and cotton can grow pretty good even when it's really hot, like it is in their part of the world. But it's a lot of work because you have to pick it by hand, and when you pick it, it's really prickly and thorny, and so it hurts your fingers. So you have to work really hard to get the cotton. And then you have to do it at just the right time when you're picking cotton, because when you get the cotton, if it's raining and the cotton gets all wet, then the cotton gets destroyed, and it can't make good, nice cloth. A lot of us have clothing that's made out of cotton that we're wearing today. But that cotton has to be in good condition, it has to be kept nice and dry. Well, some of the people who lived in Toboni, who were cotton farmers, went to the Seventh-day Adventist church there. Now, the leader of the Seventh-day Adventist church in that town was a man named Adamu. He was kind of like the head elder of the church. And he had a friend who went to church there. His name was Hassan. And they had been cotton farmers for years, and they knew how hard it was to work. But when they had become Seventh-day Adventists, now they realized something was going to have to change a little bit, because they were used to working very hard every day of the week during the harvest time to collect all the cotton as fast as they could to make sure they got it all stored up and stored away inside their barn so that it would stay dry, so that it would be ready when the cotton trader would come to buy it from them. There was a man who would drive a big truck, and he would drive it across their country, and he would stop wherever people sold cotton, were growing cotton, and he would buy their cotton from them. That's how they would get money. Well, now Adamu and Hassan realized, well, we're not going to work on Sabbath, so we'll just not pick cotton on Sabbath, even though all of the neighbors around will be picking cotton on Sabbath. Adamu and Hassan said, we're not picking cotton today, we're going to go to church. And all their neighbors said, what? You're going to church? You're going to church on Sabbath when it's a beautiful day for picking cotton? And if you wait and you don't pick the cotton today, what if it rains tomorrow? And then you're stuck outside and it's all raining and ruining your cotton. What about that, huh? And they said, no, we're going to trust God. We'll just keep on doing what we need to do about worshiping God on Sabbath, and then He'll take care of us. Now, there was a man in their church. He was a very, very new convert. His name was Bahijah. Bahijah had only just recently started learning about God and about the Sabbath, and he had started learning that God protects us and He takes care of us, and that when we are doing what God says to do, God can bless us even more. And Bahijah, he was also a cotton farmer, and he had realized, oh, Adamu and Hassan aren't going to pick cotton. I wonder if I should obey that. If I should do like they are. I don't know if I can. And he was kind of nervous about keeping the Sabbath, because what if God wouldn't take care of his cotton? So Bahijah went ahead and picked the cotton on that Sabbath. Well, Adamu and Hassan did not. And then the next day, Adamu and Hassan, they were out in their fields picking cotton on Sunday, and it stayed nice and dry. There was no rain. And Bahijah was out working on Sunday as well. And he thought to himself, maybe I shouldn't have worked in the field on Sabbath, because even though what if it rained? It could ruin my crops, and I really depend on all of that money that we get from the cotton. If I don't get that money, my family will starve. But maybe I should have had more faith like Adamu and Hassan did. If I get another chance to keep the Sabbath and to pass the test of the Sabbath, I'll make sure I pass the test. I'll ask God to help me. Well, the test did come, because just a couple weeks later, everybody had just about gotten all of their cotton collected up, harvested, and they would put them into large cotton bales. It was like a big mound of cotton all rolled up, wrapped up in string. Really big. They looked really, really heavy, and they were kind of heavy, but since they were made of cotton, they weren't too heavy. You could carry them on your shoulder, or you could put them in a big wheelbarrow and drive them around, but they were really big. And everybody had gotten their cotton bales collected throughout the whole town of Toboni, and they had them stored away inside of their special barns or their shelters so they wouldn't get rained on, because it could rain sometimes. You don't want rain on your cotton. And they were waiting now to find out, when is the cotton trader truck going to come? When is the man going to come driving the big truck, the man who's going to buy our cotton from us and pay us money for all the work that we did, so he can take the cotton and go sell it somewhere to ship overseas and they can make clothes from it? They were waiting and waiting, and a message came. Somebody arrived to the town and said, hey, I've come to let you know that the cotton trader said he was going to be here on November 21. Everybody said, oh, good, now we know it's going to be November 21. And then when they went and looked at their calendars, they looked. Uh-oh. What day of the week do you think was November 21? What day of the week was it going to be? It was a Sabbath. It was going to be a Sabbath day that the cotton trader's truck was going to come into town. And when the cotton trader truck came to town, he didn't stick around for a number of days. He would just arrive and wait kind of impatiently while everybody loaded up the truck, and he'd pay people their money, and he'd keep on going because he had lots of places to go. The cotton trader wouldn't wait for people who weren't there on Sabbath. And now there was a real test facing them. And Adamu, the elder of the church, called all the Seventh-day Adventists together. Because in their church there were 20 different people who were cotton farmers, who were also Seventh-day Adventists. And he said, this is a real test. Adamu said, everybody's going to be tested on this one, because if we don't take our cotton to be ready to be picked up that day, then we will not get any money for our cotton. And that means we will have no money to feed our families. What should we do? I think that we should keep the Sabbath, but what do you all think? And everybody started talking about it. Some people said, well, yeah, but God would understand. He doesn't want our children to starve. And some people say, no, we shouldn't do it ourselves, but we could pay someone else who's not a Seventh-day Adventist. They could go sell our cotton for us on that day. And other people said, I think that we should send a letter and see if they'll change the day. And people argued and talked and argued and talked. And finally they decided, no, we shouldn't take our cotton on Sabbath to the cotton market. We're going to have to trust God. And they talked about some of the examples in the Bible about how people trusted God and God took care of them. Like the 3 young men going in the fiery furnace when they wouldn't bow down before the golden idol that Nebuchadnezzar had made. And so everybody was listening to this. And Bahijah, the young convert, who was also a cotton farmer, and he hadn't kept the Sabbath on the previous test about not harvesting on the Sabbath. Now he was sitting in the back of the room and he was thinking, this is really hard. I didn't know the next test would be this hard. I don't know if I can do this. What if my family doesn't get any money because I don't take my cotton in to get bought on the one day that the man is going to come? Well, Adamu said, I think we all need to go home and pray about it and make our own minds up. We're not going to tell each other what to do. The Bible tells us what to do already. So let's just have a prayer about it, that we can all be faithful to what God's Word says. And they prayed, Dear God, please help us to be faithful to your Word. This is a big test. Show us what to do. Amen. Everybody went home. Bahijah went home, and Hassan went home, and Adamu went home. And everybody was thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then Adamu started thinking, you know what? I know I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take my cotton in. But I think there might be some of my Seventh-day Adventist brothers, these other cotton farmers, who are probably going to give in. They're going to give in to this test, and they're going to fail it. They're going to go and take their cotton in there. I'm going to pray for them so hard. And so he stayed up all night the night before. On Friday night, he stayed up all night praying. Dear God, help us to be faithful. Help us to obey you. Help us to trust you. And the following morning, he was praying some more. He didn't even eat breakfast that morning. He just prayed all morning until it was time for church. And then he got up and he got dressed and he started walking to church. And now normally, when you started going to church in a town like that, since the town was pretty small, all the Seventh-day Adventists, you could see them all walking, and they'd all come and meet at the church together right about at the same time. And this morning, Adamu was walking. He saw, there comes Hassan. Oh, I knew Hassan would be faithful. Hassan came walking up. And then he looked, and there was really nobody else walking up to the church. It was just Hassan and Adamu there at church with their families. I thought, oh no. There's 20 families in here in our church who are cotton farmers. You mean to tell me that only 2 of us are going to keep the Sabbath and the other 18 families are going to go and sell their cotton on the Sabbath? Oh, that's so sad. And they started praying for the other families. Dear God, please be with them, help them make the right decision. And while they were praying, the door opened, and in walked Bahijah, the young convert, who had just become a Christian a little while ago. And he said, I want to pass this test. It is so hard. I'm so worried. What if my family will starve to death? I was awake all night worrying. And Adamu said, that's okay. I was awake all night praying. Come and pray with us. And so they prayed, and they prayed and prayed, and the door opened 2 more times. 2 more cotton farmers came in. So now there were 5 cotton farmers and their families who had come to church, but 15 who had gone off to sell their cotton at the cotton market, because the cotton trader was supposed to come that day. Well, the 5 families who came to church, they sang and they worshipped and they listened to a sermon and they encouraged each other, while the other 15 families, the other 15 cotton farmers, they were at the cotton market with their cotton and they couldn't even look at each other in the eye. They were all kind of embarrassed. Oh, hi, you're here too, huh? Hi, how are you? Hi. They're all feeling a little guilty in their hearts. But then they kept thinking, no, it'll be okay. Since they came, it's okay if I came. They chose to come, so it must be okay. That'll be all right. And then they started thinking, God will understand. And they started thinking, it'll be worth it in the end. And they waited and waited, and the sun was hot, and there was not a cloud in the sky. And they waited, and the cotton trader usually would get there by about noon, and he wasn't there by noon, by 2 o'clock, by 3 o'clock. But at 4 o'clock, something did come. You know what came at 4 o'clock? A huge rainstorm. Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just water started falling out of the sky. Just huge clouds blew in, and water came pouring down. And all the cotton farmers, the Seventh-day Adventist ones and the non-Seventh-day Adventist ones, who had gathered all their cotton out there in the marketplace to wait for the truck to come, all their cotton got soaked. It was the most drenching, pouring rain. It just squooshed. All those big cotton bales just squooshed all down to almost nothing. They were just all shriveled up and waterlogged and wrinkly. Oh no, our cotton is ruined. We tried so hard to keep our cotton dry, and now it's ruined. What are we going to do? And the cotton trader isn't even here yet. And so all the cotton farmers got their cotton bales back on their wheelbarrows or up on their shoulders and started taking them back home. And as they went home, all the Seventh-day Adventist cotton farmers were feeling so guilty. Why did we do it? Why did we come? The cotton truck didn't even show up today. Why did we do this? All of our neighbors saw us out here. They know we're Seventh-day Adventists, and they all saw us out here trying to sell our cotton on Sabbath. Oh, we feel so guilty. And then they thought of something else. Wait, there were 5 families that didn't come. Adamu and Hassan and Bahijah and a couple other guys, and their cotton is still back in their barns, nice and dry. Their cotton didn't get ruined. Oh, if only we had done what they had done. Oh, no. Our cotton would have been dry. We would have been fine. They did not sleep well that night. But the 5 cotton farmers, including Adamu and Hassan and Bahijah, who had not gone to the cotton trading market that day, who had trusted God to take care of them, they went to sleep that night feeling just fine, knowing God would take care of them. And when they heard the truck had not come, they felt even better. And they heard a messenger come running into the town early the following morning. The cotton truck is on its way. He's on his way today. We see him coming. And so Adamu and Bahijah and Hassan rushed to their storehouses. They got their cotton bales out on wheelbarrows, and they started pushing them down the road, going to the market. And on the way to the market, here came all the other people who had been already there the day before, and they were all carrying their cotton bales. And oh, what a contrast. Because Adamu's cotton bales and Bahijah's cotton bales and Hassan's cotton bales were big and fluffy and white and beautiful, while all the cotton bales of everyone else who had been at the market the previous day and gotten rained on were all shriveled up and drippy and ugly and kind of muddy. Yeah, and it really looked. And all the people who had been at the cotton market the previous day looked, and they saw those nice beautiful cotton bales coming and said, those are the guys who stayed at church yesterday. They didn't come. Maybe there's something to be said about keeping the Sabbath. Maybe their God really is powerful. So they all came and they gathered in the cotton market trading place, and they waited. And sure enough, here came the truck rolling up. You could see the dust long time before it would arrive. The dust billowing up from the road. Finally the truck pulled up, and the driver got out. And he was grumpy. Grumpier than usual. And he was impatient than usual. And Adamu said, hello, how are you? We've been waiting for you. Why didn't you come yesterday? And the truck driver looked at him and he said, I was on my way yesterday, and then I had a flat tire. Now that happens sometimes. So I got out my spare tire, and I changed the spare tire onto where the flat tire had been, and I put the flat tire in the back. And then I got back in the car, and I'd wasted 1 hour doing that, but that's all right. That happens sometimes. Then I drove and drove, and next thing you know, I got another flat tire. And now I didn't have any more spare tires. So then I had to take one flat tire and put it on my shoulder and walk all the way back to the nearest town to get it fixed. And I got it fixed, and I came back, and I got the new tire put on. And now I'd wasted 2 more hours. Then I got in the truck, and I drove and drove, and after driving for a while, oh, third flat tire! And I was so angry, I was pounding the steering wheel, saying, why is this happening? I've never had 3 flat tires in one day. Sometimes 1 flat tire, but never 2, and definitely not 3. What is going on? It's almost like some mysterious force is trying to keep me from getting to where I want to go today. And Adamu and Hassan and Bahijah all looked at each other, and they kind of smiled a little bit because they knew what that mysterious force was that had been keeping him from getting there on the Sabbath to the cotton trading place. And they said, so then what happened? He said, well, then I had to change a 3rd tire, and it took so long to walk back to a village and get the tire fixed that I just decided I would sleep in my truck that night and come the next day. So that's why I wasn't here yesterday. Now, where's your cotton to buy? And Adamu said, here's mine. He said, oh, that's very nice cotton. Very nice cotton. He said, where's more? And Hassan and Bahija and the two other cotton farmers who were Seventh-day Adventists who had not gone to the cotton trading place the previous day, they brought up their cotton bales and said, this is very nice cotton. I'm glad I came all this way. Where's the rest of it? And then all the other farmers, the ones whose cotton bales were all soaked from sitting out in the open air yesterday on Sabbath and getting all rained on by the surprise storm, they brought up their pathetic-looking cotton bales and said, here's ours. He said, what? What? This is your cotton? Your cotton looks terrible. Why would I even want to buy this cotton from you? That's pathetic. I'll buy the cotton from these guys over here. I'll pay them lots of money. But your cotton is terrible. It's bad. I'll hardly be able to sell it. I'll give you just a little bit of money for your cotton. That's all I can give you. That's very bad cotton. But Adamu, come over here. I have lots of money for your nice cotton. And Adamu and Hassan and Batija and the other two farmers received lots of money for their cotton crop, while the other farmers got only a little bit of money, and they were fortunate to get any at all. But he said, I'll give you a little bit of money, but I can't pay you very much. And after he roared out of town in his truck, the men all gathered around, and they said, Adamu, we want to know more about your God. That's what the farmers said who were not Seventh-day Adventists. And the farmers who were Seventh-day Adventists, they gathered around, and they were looking pretty ashamed. And finally one of them said, Adamu, I feel really bad that I didn't go to church yesterday and that I chose to come to the cotton place. I didn't trust God to take care of me. I should have trusted Him. And I feel really bad because now I'm going to keep the Sabbath from now on, but I wish I had learned my lesson just by being faithful instead of having to get a consequence like this. Oh, Adamu, please help us all to pray and say to God that we're sorry, to forgive us, because we don't ever want to let Him down again. And that's what Adamu did. Adamu was very kind to them all, and he said, yes, let's all pray together. That'll be good. We should all pray and say and thank God for what He has done and that He's taught you a lesson, and help Him to keep your lesson in your mind very clearly. And so that was the lesson of how Adamu and Hassan and Bahija kept the Sabbath. They didn't forget the Sabbath. They followed what God had said in the Bible, and how God took care of them even though it seemed impossible.